afternoon, everybody. If you guys were catching the Stint 2 Split 1 stream, I told you we were going to start in 20 minutes. That is a lie, because we're going to start almost very soon. Welcome to GTSC Round 4, IRO X S7R, in collaboration to present you guys with the Split 2 Stint 1 portion of today's races. As always, we are running around the beautiful Circuit de la Surf, or something like that. Le Mans, basically. You already know this, right? We've already been watching this. Anyways, let's quickly look at track maps. As you guys know, Le Mans is a circuit characterized by a bunch of chicanes and a bunch of straights. So, the Mulsanne Straight, arguably the most famous straight in the world, is with us today. These cars are going to have to be pushing their engines quite hard to reach their top speeds, but they must also carry their speeds for some of these very long and fast speed sweepers. For example, the Porsche curves, the S's, as well as the two chicanes in the middle that break up the Mulsanne Straight. Quickly, let's look at the schedule. As I mentioned today, we are competing at round 4 at Le Mans. 3 rounds have previously passed before this. We ventured over to the wonderful Austria Red Bull Ring, the United States Laguna Seca, and Italy's famous Temple of Speed at Monza. Once we finish today's round, we only have 4 races left in the schedule. Next up, we will have Watkins Glen in a month's time, Fuji, Road Atlanta, and then we will be finishing out at the wonderful Circuit de Villeneuve out in Canada. Let's take a look at the rule book, or the rules overall. Jair, welcome back. I hope you are ready to commentate with me today. Could you please go over the series rules?
Sure thing. So we are starting with a 20-minute qualifying session. So people are starting on about 30% of fuel to help with weight. And the tire and fuel wear is going to be at ×1 The race itself is 3 hours, but with every stint being split into an hour and a half each, which is about, it's about 21 racing laps? Something like that.
Pretty much.
The required tires for these drivers, they have to use a set of mediums and they have to use a set of softs. However, if you can verify that, that's for each stint, right?
Yes, for each stint, the drivers, unless it's a wet race or unless it's declared wet, they are forced to use a medium and a soft unless they want to have a haggle of penalties coming their way post-race.
Right. These cars, you can't adjust the aero on these. They are brake balance only, but you'd be surprised how much brake balance can affect a car like this, especially these GT cars.
True.
Damages? Go ahead.
Yeah. Damage is heavy, sorry, because qualifying is starting underway. Quickly, let's look at the weather if we don't mind.
Yeah, sure thing.
Qualifying, time of day is sunset. For stint 1, again sunsets, but we will be seeing a start of CO6, and then the ending time slot will be in CO5. Stint 2 will be in the twilight hours of the race, starring CO5 and CO4. So this means no guarantee of rain, but the random, all the middle time slots will be set at random weather, meaning that an onburst of rain is possible today. Could you please go over the spotter's guide, Hot Air?
Sure thing. So we have if we're going to go top left to bottom right, we've got the number 12 full acceleration force Porsche. Did you want me to go through all the drivers that are on team, or
just the teams?
Yeah, okay. We've got the number 55 red AMG by Infinite Octane No Lift Racing. We've got the silver, black, and red. I believe that's a Ferrari from Wheelhouse Racing, number 93. We got Race Asylum Cookies, number 69. Nice. in what I assume to be, that's a GTR, Nissan GTR. We got car number 888, which appears to be a Porsche from Evolution No Limits. The number 18 Nissan GTR from S7R's Raccoons. We got the number 9 blue and white PHG Porsche, Team Susan, rest in peace. The number 31 Enduro Experience Team Shadows in the black and white Porsche. Number 63's silver and pink PHG team in that Porsche. The red, white, and blue NVR Team Gold team, which is redundant, but they are the number 47 car. And the last 4 cars wrapping up the grid are the Medway Racing League, number 8 AMG, the number 13 Enduro Experience AMG, the number 32 Scotty Motorsports Porsche, and the number 16 Vez Racing Team Lime Porsche.
Thank you very much, Hot Air. Now let us go over to the on-track battles. Actually, very quickly, I believe we have the team standings for Split 2. Let's go very quickly. FAF leads the championship with 170 points. Won the PHG teams, Team Susan, 122. Evolution, No Limits, 102. And third, Wheelhouse in fourth with 94. Fifth is IRO's, Infinite Octane No Lift Racing. My apologies, missing up the teams. P6 is Medway Racing League. Enduro Experience Team Shadows in 7th. MVR Team Gold in 8th. The Team Raccoons from S7R in 9th. Race Asylum Cookies in P10. P11 is owned by PHG Team Papa. The other Enduro Experience Team, Hunters, is in P12. Scotty Motorsports in P13. And Vez Team Lime is in P14. Now we can go on to the track. I'm sorry, folks.
We got
PHG Team Banana, my apologies, going up the hill to start his first flying lap. Hot Air, how do you like Circuit de la Sarf?
I have opinions about this track. It's definitely a legendary track, but you have to approach it in a very unique way because the track limits aren't very well defined in some areas of this track. Like at the end and start, like let's say at the Porsche curves, at the S's, and anywhere that's not the public road area of this track, the track limits are well defined. But where you're going to see most of the penalties and most of the people getting track limits is in those chicanes, maybe at Tetra Rouge. And just here's my opinion about this track. You have to always be paying attention. I know that sounds obvious, but it's going to be the penalties that are a bigger detriment to you than other drivers if you don't pay attention.
It's true, because PHG Bananas we saw going on to the Musan Straits, unfortunately picking up a penalty, meaning this hot lap is practically ruined, as we're keeping an eye out on P5, owned by Infinite Octane No Lift Racing, going down the main straight with the Mercedes AMG. Quite an overall jack-of-all-trades type of car. Let's see if that pick will lead them to success in today's Split 2 race. Behind, we're looking at S7R's Endorphin. One of the the only S7R team in Split 2 with the GTR. As we see back over there, Z Eller unfortunately picking up another penalty, meaning this lap is also ruined. S7R Endorphins leading the Split 2 effort for today. Let's see what he's able to accomplish in that GTR. A car that has had many ups and downs in terms of the meta in GT7's lifespan. Currently in I would argue, middle of the pack spot. But the car is not the only factor in these teams' successes today. The driver, the management behind them, and what they do on track is truly the deciding factor as to who will lead, who will succeed, and who will crash, and who will fail. Going into the hairpin, staying on the right-hand side to line up the entry, going a little bit wide into the gravel. Let's see if he picks up a penalty. Sometimes you can get one there, sometimes you don't. Hitting the apex onto the right-hander that precedes the Porsche curves. Mini straights in between to break up the track as we see Z Eller in the background serving his penalty. Cupcake, I believe that's in the R8 teams, being right beside him. Wheelhouse Racing having a few good results so far in the season, trying to pick up another good result for today. Going into the Porsche curbs, not going to contest this with Cupcake ahead of him, because his lap is already ruined, so no reason to fight on a qualifying session. But still going to do everything he can to stick close to be able to use the slipstream for hopefully a very good lap time before this session is over. Hot air. We saw a double MVR podium today over in the Split 1 portion of today's wonderful day of racing. How happy were you seeing that?
That was something to watch for sure. The gap that I saw S2K putting on the rest of the field pretty consistently was a sight to be seen. Very happy with their performance. I've already extended my congratulations to them. Yeah, very pleased with how they did.
Happy to hear that from, the wonderful team owner of NBR. As we saw the first lap being placed down on track, provisional pole being taken by Papa Oso. 358.8, but the nearest contender is a second down. S7R's Endorphin from S7R Raccoons, a 359.8. But this track is only going to get faster as the session goes on. We're on board with NBR's Slow K67, fighting for NBR Team's gold. I believe the only NBR team out in Split 2 in the Mercedes, currently lining up in 7th with a 4.9. Going out onto the Mulsanne straight with a 10th in hand of an improvement. Let's see if the Mercedes has the legs to produce even better. Unfortunate bit of a penalty. It must be from going out wide on the corner that I don't remember the corner name. I'll probably call it Tetra Rouge. These French names. You think I would know this a lot better considering I know Spanish, but
that's not Spanish.
Yep, nope. Currently on track with the Mercedes of Medway. Currently lining up in P10. Let's see what they're able to accomplish. A full European driver's setup. We already know that those Europeans are dangerously quick in this game. Arguably the home continent of racing overall. They are performing quite well throughout the season so far. 6/10 up out of the first chicane on the Mulsanne straight. 402 currently in the bag. If they carry this on, it won't be enough to get P9, but they still have a second half of the lap to be able to improve upon.
We've got a car with damage out there.
Do we? Which one?
Number 4, Loris 207, the German.
And a penalty to boot. Unfortunate to see.
Oh, penalty! I assume the penalty was implied because there's 5 cars with penalties on track right this second.
That's unfortunately the case with this type of racing, or I guess this type of track. All these guys are going to push their cars to the limits to be able to get the best qualifying position overall. Well, I believe damage is on heavy in the the qualifying session, meaning that he's probably going to go into the pits at the end of this lap, repair, get some extra fuel if need be, and go again with a fresh set of softs. Taking a look back up top with Papa Oso, going through the Porsche curves, being followed behind by PHG, Banana. 5/10 down though, the FAS driver, so no improvement to be expected on this lap. But PHG Banana certainly is on track to get improvements. Going a little bit wide, getting unstable on the apex of that corner. but there should still be an improvement nonetheless because he had a 5/10 penalty on his first hot lap. Going into the Ford chicane. Left, right. Crossing over the line, going out wide to get the exit speed. Let's see what he's able to put down on the timing board. A 3:59.2 gets him promoted to P2 overall in this qualifying session. P3 being also newly promoted. And P4 from S7R's Endorphin gets demoted to P4. As we see MVR approaching the Ford chicanes as well. Let's see if any improvement comes his way. His sister teams in the Split 1 category did a wonderful job today, provisionally P2 and P3. Let's see if Team Gold is able to follow the precedent set earlier today. No improvement, 4/10 down, but still, there's plenty of laps to go. Well, more like 2 laps. Sway going up the hill in the Mercedes as well. We're seeing quite a lot of Mercedes. I think we only saw 1 Mercedes in Split 1. Maybe 0, to be honest. But going down the hill.
Let me see. Let me check the spotters guide again. I've got it. Let me take a look.
Going down the hill with one of the 2 Enduro Experience teams, specifically Team Hunters. Before entering the Multan Straight, it looks like he is down on time, 3/10. Gonna be hard to improve his lap from here on out, but it is possible. You know, a little fun fact, Hot Air. One of the most legendary rally drivers ever actually is also a Le Mans winner.
Oh boy.
Michel Montone, yes.
No kidding.
Is technically a 24-hour Le Mans winner, not the overall class. Back in the day, I think it was the 3.0 liter engine. If you guys know the car, the Alpine R250, it's the legendary lot one. It's the like weird small race car from like the 60s.
A220.
Yes, the A220, something like that. That is the car that Michelle won around this circuit back God knows when, well before I was born. And she is a 24 Hours of Le Mans winner. Ending the Multan Straight, the Mercedes enters the second. Oh, there's a car going out wide back there. I wonder if we can get an eye on that. That leisure.
He is off track.
Did someone reset the track? I also wonder. Dragon, Porsche versus NVR. Looks like he paused because his blinkers are on, and then he just brakes. Must have broke too late. And then I believe he reset to the pits, I think. Yes, he did. All right. Must have been a lap of concentration. Happens to the best of us. Still plenty of time to recuperate and go again. S7R's Endorphin, 2 tenths up, exiting the hairpin of the track. Getting the car rotated nice and early with the use of the accelerator. Going down this mini straight before we reach the Porsche curves, as we see back in the background a Cupcake and the RA team having to serve a penalty. Going for the Porsche curves right now. Well, Hot Air, let me ask you. Mediums and softs are required for this race. So how would you approach that, knowing that, as well as the tire wear and the fuel consumption being fairly low overall? How would you approach the race?
Seeing how Split 1 did it is probably how I would go about doing it as well. The mediums, people don't give the medium tire enough credit. They always compare it to the soft and saying, oh, it's slower. The medium tire is the most consistent because you get a decent amount of life out of it for the pace you get. But given that the tire life in this race is extended, because it's times1, you can do a good, comfortable half of the race on that soft tire as well. So the question is, do you want to be faster later in the race or earlier?
Very good question.
If you can capitalize on it, do you? Because that will mean you're slower in the end. We have a car being reset to the pits. What
Yes.
the heck happened there?
Well, Dad Leisure getting up to P2. Very through tight margins. Papa Oso also improving his PB. A 58.2 now is what the drivers are going to have to hunt down to be able to get pole position. S7R's Endorphin, I believe, was 4/10 up before going through Tetra Rouge out onto the Mulsanne Straight. Papa Oso going through the first chicane on said Mulsanne Straight. Let's see if he makes an improvement out on exit. Yes, a 10th and
Yeah, he
almost
does.
a half. PhD Banana following close behind. 3/10 up as well. Looks like everyone is improving. I wonder if the wind conditions is indicative of that. Going down to
it's towards the
Porsche.
it's the wind is to their backs down the Mulsanne right now. I would assume yes. That is
Yeah, true.
substantial.
I just didn't catch if that was the wind earlier on, or these guys are just finding much more pace
I'm
in
not
their
sure.
cars.
Let me
D-Dubs
go
was able to
check back
almost
in the stream a
match
little bit.
his previous best, or previous Sway going out again. Let's see, the Mercedes going down the Mulsanne Straight, sitting on a 4:01.3, only a 10th behind P11, 2/10 behind P10 as well. Still plenty of time to try to find some sort of improvement, trying to find some sort of promotion up the qualifying order. Going through the second chicane once again. Car number 13 trying to just keep the car steady. Ooh, a little bit of a snap at the rear on exits. Not going to help him out anytime soon. I don't know. He should be able to... No, I believe this will be his final lap. I don't believe he will cross the line before another hot lap is being able to be produced, as NVR's Slow K67, the upper Mercedes, on the Mulsanne Straight currently. Heading out of the main straight into the right-hander. Hits its braking points pretty much on mark. Gets a good exit. Slows the car down sufficiently enough. 3/10 down, unfortunately. Let's see if he's able to recuperate this before the end of the lap as we check Papa Oso. If anyone is able to get another lap in, it's gonna be him, but I don't believe he'll be able to make it. He'll be missing it out on like 1 or 2 seconds. Dad Leisure seems to have retired from the qualifying session, now currently in the pits, switching out to the mediums. Papa Oso entering the Porsche curves in his Porsche FAF. Hitting the second apex pretty well. Going into the second set of sweepers. Yes, Hot Air?
It looks like he's gonna miss his next qualifying lap by about 5 seconds.
Yes.
We're gonna see, because it's a 20-minute session. Session's over in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think he'll make it. It'll be very close.
He's just not doing it anyway.
Oh, let's see, PhD Banana, not going to be able to get another lap, but let's see if he makes an improvement. 3:59.2 on the board so far, entering the gravel on the exit. 3:58.9, enough to take P2 away from the others, but not enough to take the pole position away. Z Eller and the Ferrari entering the 4 chicanes right now. Let's see if his last lap is able to see any sort of improvement, any sort of promotion. Exiting the chicanes pretty well. It doesn't look like much. No, a 4:01, not enough to make any improvement. PhD C-Dubs in the Porsche, 3:59.5, able to get himself promoted up to P5. Funnily enough, knocking down Z Eller down to P6, as we see some final drivers crossing the line.
Slowcade almost gets under the wire of 4 minutes. 4 minutes dead, 0.096.
Lori's abandoning his last hot lap attempt. I believe the last one on track to see any sort of improvement upon is going to be this man right here, right now. Dragan in the Porsche had to take avoiding action earlier in the qualifying session, but is still able to get 1 hot lap in. Exiting the Mulsanne Straight into the right-hander, braking as late as possible to be able to shorten up the braking distance, gets the car rotated quite nicely, gets onto the exit curb out wide, but not wide enough to hit the gravel. No improvement so far on this lap, but still has half the lap to be something.
Just letting that flat 6 sing. Just wring its neck around here.
going to have to do to get these cars into its optimal pace. Into the hairpin, get his marks up quite well. Bit of an early entry, hits the grab on exit, 2/10 down. Still has some corners to find some sort of improvement, but it's not going to be very easy to get the 6/10 he needs to get a higher qualifying position. Before the Porsche curves, let's see if this car has any sort of benefit with the Porsche name tagging right alongside it. Currently in P9, I believe that would be what, row 4, I believe? No, row 4. Let's see if he's able to get an improvement.
That's row 5.
Section.
That's definitely row 5. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Row 5. Not good enough. Close enough. into the second sweeper. Bit of an improvement so far. Into the left-hander. Try to carry the speed out wide, not wide enough to catch a penalty. Only the 4 chicanes standing between him and the finish line. Go out wide, almost into the pit lane, hitting those curves. Get the car settled down. Keep yourself off to the right-hand side for the second set of chicanes. Gives you the best entry speed overall. Then out wide to carry the exit speed, and that awards him with a 359 spin.
That is a heck of an improvement.
That is, with only half a lap to go, he's able to circumnavigate a 2/10 deficit to a 1 second improvement. Wonderful work by Dragian, the P6 driver. But let's have a round of applause because Papa Oso and the FAF Porsche takes pole for round 4, split 2.
That makes me wonder.
What were your thoughts on this session, Hot Air?
That's a heck of a lap, 358 too, seeing as the split 1 drivers were in the low 357s. Around a track that takes 4 minutes, that's a heck of a lap.
True. Maybe split 2, but these drivers certainly have the ability to compete in split 1.
I mean, in practice, Slow K will give me a really good run for my money. He's not to be trifled with. He's a great driver. Just speaking from experience, I can't say much about the rest of these drivers because I haven't driven with them. That's gonna sound like bias. I promise it's not. All right.
Well, let's go quickly. Hot Air, if you don't mind, going over the qualifying results.
Sure thing. Pole position, we have Mr. Papa Oso in that pink and blue Porsche with a 358.2. About half a second, a little more behind him, is PHG's Banana. Same Porsche, 358.9. In third place, we got Dad Leisure with the Mercedes, the Panda Express Mercedes with the 359.2. In fourth place is S7R's Endorphin in the Nissan GTR with a 359.3. In fifth is PHG's C-Dubs in the Porsche with a 359.5. In sixth is GT7GR Dragian in the Porsche with a 359.7. In seventh place, we have Mr. Eller with the Ferrari with a 359.8. We got eighth place, MVR's Slow K67 in the Mercedes with a 4 minutes flat .096. In ninth, we have Loris 207. I might have the names wrong. It is Loris with the Porsche with a 4 minutes .3. In 10th, we have Cupcake from RA with the GTR with a 401.1. In 11th, we have Johnny Waffle from MRL with the Mercedes with a 401.2. And wrapping up our 12-car grid is Sway with the Mercedes with a 401.3. Overall gap is just over 3 seconds.
Thank you very much. Well, very soon we're gonna start this race. Now, Hot Air, can you also explain the driver swap system that we have in place for these races?
I sure can. So the way that these races are set up is however many drivers you have, like in this instance, it's 2 drivers. You're going to have 2 lobbies set up. This first lobby is going to have 23 racing laps, but you're only racing for 21 of those. The first lap is a parade lap, so we can run our own rolling start after parade lap. And then the final lap, being the 23rd lap, is just a in lap. At the end of the 22nd lap on this track, the drivers will come in to the pits where their other driver for their second stint is already in the pits waiting for them. Once the car is fully stopped in the pits, the first driver will send a signal to the second driver, and they will initiate their pit stop. From there, the first driver stays in the pits, doesn't move, doesn't take fuel, no tires, nothing, until they are given the all clear from the race director. In which case, they can finish their race and cross the finish line after the 23rd lap. Am I missing anything?
Thank you very much. Nope, that's pretty much everything perfectly. Very quickly, we have the Spire guides for the folks viewing this, so you can keep track of what's going to be happening on track. So, yeah, very soon, we're going to be starting this parade lap / out lap. These guys are going to be driving at 80 miles per hour. For you metric users, 130 kilometers per hour. You know, for me, the inferior measuring model, but, you know, that's another conversation for another time. Once they get into the Corvette turns, they will be going double file, and then it will be race start time once they get out of the Ford chicanes. As I remember correctly, I believe the real-life Le Mans 24 Hours was won overall by Toyota Gazoo Racing. Toyota's actually doing quite a lot of work in racing overall, building that hypercar, but also they're about to launch their new sports car / GT3 contender in the GRGT,
it's not
I think.
GR anymore. It's just Toyota Racing.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
They took the Gazoo label off of it.
Interesting.
That is why the new car is named the TR010.
I see. Okay, I didn't know that. Good to know, because I know Gazoo Racing is becoming its own official company, launching with the GT.
Sort of like AMG is.
Yeah, technically. It's true. Okay, well, lights out very soon, but it's not the start of the race. They have to go around the lap. So, what are these drivers gonna do while on their out lap hot air? What's in their minds right now while they're doing this parade lap?
If I was in these guys' shoes, my immediate thought is fuel trim 6. You want to save as much fuel as you can while you're doing this parade lap. And then, like all these other drivers just did, you're going to go to 6 gear. You're going to try to warm up your tires a little bit. Just try not to hit anybody because damage is heavy. So just preserve your car, save some fuel, warm up your tires a little bit. You got plenty of time. You got about, I think, 5 or 6 minutes before a race start, right about now.
Good enough. Yep. When I was doing my IRO races back in the day, I say that like I'm retired now. I haven't done any recently. Yeah, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You know, it's kind of the calm before the storm. Just get yourself, warmed up. Get yourself feeling correctly in the car. It's 1.5 hours for these guys, but technically 3 hours for the entire teams as a whole. Plenty of racing to do, plenty of opportunities to, make your positions, but plenty of time to also make plenty of mistakes. So you want to just get yourself, get your headspace correctly into the game. Keep your eyes forward. You have your job to do, so just go ahead and do it.
One thing to keep in mind, especially on this track, is we even saw this plenty of times during qualifying, is keep your penalties to a minimum. I'm not saying don't get penalties. This track is notorious for it. You will get a bullcrap penalty every now and then. But if you can help it, just lay off the pace for like maybe losing half a second so that you don't lose 3 seconds in your penalty zone.
Yeah, I mean the penalty zone is very harsh around here.
Very harsh. It's on the straight leading up. It's in between Arnage and the Porsche curves. It's one of the straights where you can reach up to 150 miles an hour. It is treacherous.
You know, I find it amazing how you can remember these corner names. I just named them good corner, bad corner, shit corner.
It also helps that I have a track map sitting right in front of me.
Ah, that's fair. Yeah, no, that would do it. I can't remember corner name. Besides the iconic ones, you know, Masson straights, Ford, Porsche chicanes, curves. The other smaller ones, yeah.
The first, that really quick right-hander leading on to the first Moulin straight is Tetra Rouge.
Yeah, I like to call it a pinball because it feels like, you know how in a pinball machine you just, pull back the spring to shoot it out. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Oh, I like that. That's cool. Pinball corner.
I also think that PD secretly changes the track limits every update, because I swear that corner specifically, every update it's a new track limit that I have to learn. I could be bad at the game, but I could swear they're changing
I said this in the commentary on Split 1 with Toddy. I said the track limits on this track were vague, and I stand by that.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. It can be difficult to navigate. As we see these drivers get off the Mulsanne straight. Now the mini straight leading up to the hairpin.
Actually, before we get started here, do we want to take a look at all these guys' liveries, see what kind of creative work they've been doing?
Sure. You know, these guys, obviously, they're fierce competitors, but more importantly, they are very creative artists. As we see the FAF, this reminds me of like the weird 90s paper cup that you see in like office buildings and stuff like that. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it does remind me that. Don't remember the teddy bear on the cup. Team Susan, rest in peace.
Yes,
very
Susan.
good. Very good. You know, what's the word? In honor of the late Susan. Going behind him in the Mercedes. We're gonna take a look.
Oh, great! Now I'm hungry. Oh, that's right. Team Susan car is the
Porsche.
The blue one, yeah.
And then, oh, yes, you're right. My apologies. Going to that leader's car, the Panda Express AMG machine.
Right now I'm hungry.
I do like the PlayStation symbols kind of behind all the decals and stuff like that.
That is quite
nice
cool,
touch.
actually.
S7R's raccoons, in honor of the mammal, I guess. Nice little car. Then this is the appropriate car that I was trying to say before. The blue Porsche PhD. I believe they're running 4 teams in both splits, right?
I believe so.
I think they have 2 teams in
All right.
top split. The other Porsche from Endurance Experience Racing. And then the American, funnily enough,
America.
an American driving the car. The Ferrari. Really hope we get the new Mustang GT3 at some point. And then obviously your team.
Yep, Mr. Slow K67, livery creators Croatian. He's actually also on Team Gold. He's our creative lead. Very, very useful for making liveries. He's a cool dude.
All right, we're going to go double file very soon. We'll take a look at the other liveries at some point during the race. Let's get a look up front because we are now double file line. Papa Oso gets to decide when the race starts.
Oh, hold on. We got a bit of a separation here.
A little bit of separation. Hopefully these guys get into position.
Oh, there we go. Now we're talking.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, round 4 of GTSC, brought to you by IRO and S7R.
Boom, here we go.
Again, Papa Oso is gone. That's not quite sure there. But Papa Oso takes the lead. Peachy Banana having to defend from that leader in the AMG. The AMG trying to take a look on the inside, but not close enough to make the move stick. SNR Endorphin still in P4 in the GTR. There's a rabble of cars behind. I don't know how many positions have been gained or lost, but what I can tell you is that 2 Porsches are entering the pitfall corner to be going onto the main straight. Dragian is able to take the lead off of Loris. BHC C-Dubs is able to take off the position off of Loris as well, but he does go out wide. Tries to get back into a single file line to go for the slipstream. I don't know if he'll be able to pick up a penalty before the end of the straight. CL, actually no, I think he did relatively things up behind Loris. Also trying to take a lead off of BG Banana, but not enough to be able to break away from the slipstream going into the first chicane.
Trying to currently. Oh, look out!
Eller.
We got contact in the first chicane between Eller and C-Dubs.
Eller goes wide, slides out in the middle of the chicane. Must have been caused by some contact earlier on. Let's see what happened there. Loris taking the lead into the chicane. Z Eller with the slipstream and the overspeed able to get alongside on the inside. Brakes super late, hits C-Dubs, and it causes him to go out wide. Let's see, I hope neither one gets damaged, but those sort of incidents often leads to such damage. C-Dubs carrying a penalty, most likely due to his off-track venture from Petra Rouge. Dragian now behind Cupcake in the GTR, the RA team on the back foot compared to the Porsche, driven by the Greek driver. Sway up to P8 now, qualified to P12, but already 4 positions off the start-finish line. Z Eller out in the background, trying to bring the car out back into formation.
Right.
Ooh, looks like Dragian gets...
Dragian hopping one of the bollards there. That is what I refer to as a Gran Turismo-ism. It's the physics can act a little funny sometimes, and we just saw a prime example of it right there.
Yeah, but he's able to slot back into the slipstream. Let's see what happened here. Dragian behind Cupcake, drafting a little bit. I think he wanted to go on the inside, but just bumped him a little bit too early. Had to take avoiding actions on the outside, but that off-camera corner leads him into a spin into the apex of the corner, losing 2 positions from there.
Looks mostly clean to Indianapolis. Loris over here is going to have to serve his 2.5 penalty on lap 1. That is brutal to serve that now of all times. Slow K is going to pick up position to 10th. Going to try to make up that time to Johnny Waffle, but it's going to be tough getting back into that slipstream. Let's see what else we got going on. We got a 3-way fight for 6th place between Sway, C-Dubs, and Dragian, going 3 wide into the Porsche curves, almost.
Looks like Sway
Dragian backed off
that 3 fights. As we saw up ahead, PHG, Banana, and Papa Oso trading their time in the P1 position. Let's see who's going to finish out on top by the end of this stint. Sway being hounded by C-Dubs behind in that Porsche. Seems to have a bit of advantage through this portion of the track. But Sway still ahead, able to make some sort of defensive maneuvers against the Porsche behind. Going into the Porsche chicane, having to defend slightly.
C-Dubs was an aggressive move. Woohoo! That's a move, C-Dubs. Yeah! Cleanly done.
Sway still has a chance to respond out onto the main straight. Plenty of time to be able to gain some overspeed up the hill. Going into the first set of chicanes, but not enough speed to be able to contest. Having to slot behind C-Dubs one more time.
No, Sway backed off for that. There's no way. He absolutely had the momentum to keep going. He backed off to keep it clean. The long race. You got to pick your battles.
Dragian behind. Sway going out wide.
Sway, a little bit of contact.
Bollards.
Oh, Dragian off to the wall. Let's see if anybody goes off of Tetra Rouge here. Looks like Johnny Waffle might have. We'll see for a penalty. No, it's all right. Everybody seems to be keeping the nose relatively clean. Let's do a quick chat. No, everybody seems okay.
against PhD Banana, trying to get his way back up into the lead, going on the outside into the first set of chicanes, unable to make a stick, dragging Dad Leisure behind, being hounded by the S7R Raccoon driver. So having a good chance going to the second set of chicanes. Long straight and plenty of time for slipstream to take effect, but PhD Banana will most likely make an early defensive maneuver to cover off the inside line. Or not! Porsche takes the inside line. Let's see.
Oh, this could be interesting. If he decides he wants to try to keep it.
And Paposo takes the position.
Lots of position trading going on here.
That leader going a bit wide on exit of the second chicane. We saw plenty of people get a penalty out on that portion of the track in the last split race. Let's see if he gets one now. But there's still plenty of time for S7R Endorphin to make the move. Plenty of slipstream available to him, plenty of overspeed possible. As we see Cupcake, there seems to be a bunch of pairs currently. Cupcake being hounded by Cedos behind in the Porsche. Well, a little bit strange. Got off the bumper quite late. Cupcake making a defensive maneuver. I don't know if that was a forced maneuver, but he definitely made so. Cupcake now into the slipstream. One more chance before to get into the hairpin. Let's see if he takes the chance or if he's going to bump draft to try to get the gap ahead much closer and much shortened. Paposo still in the lead. PhD Banana unable to make a counterattack quite yet. Going into the hairpin, they both go single file line. Dad Leisure, a bit of sparks flying off the sweeper. Cupcake again, the sparks flying out everywhere. Dragging ahead of this 4-car train, trying to get ahead up to the MRL driver, but he has to take a second penalty right here, right now. This is going to demote him all the way to the back of the train and then some.
Like I understand, the penalty zone is just brutal. Just lost 3 places in 5 seconds. Ouch.
But now the MBR driver is ahead of this pack. Paposo, half of a second gap to the car behind. Gave him so much trouble on the opening lap. Still Banana still has a chance to do something. I've never seen this inside of this Porsche before. Ooh, it's kind of cool.
A little bit of contact from Loris in the Porsche Cruise. Made contact with the wall. Don't think he got damaged. Dragian right on top of him. A little fight for 10th here. No shortage of good racing here. Oh, contact.
Paposo getting through the 4 chicanes quite nicely. Loris, the German in the Porsche, going against his Belgian compatriot in the Mercedes. A battle that's been said multiple times, most likely in the history of Germany and Belgium. Crossing the line, 4:04.2 for the German. But that's not important right now. What's important is him getting P9 off of the Mercedes driver ahead. Let's see. Looks for something on the inside, gets into the mirror of the Mercedes, but not close enough to contest. Goes a little bit wide of the second apex of the chicane, losing him time on the exit. Looks like Sway is giving more of a battle to the car ahead than to the battle behind. Oh, Loris going out wide to the bollards. Not quite sure what happened there. He went out wide. Very odd mistake from a section of track that you don't typically see in which. Going back up front, Dad Leisure having a penalty along with Endorphin. Let's see if anything happened on the Mulsanne straight. No, it's through Tetra Rouge. Going out too wide on exit, causing him to get the penalty. But Endorphin also has a penalty, meaning that the positions will still be neutralized by the time we get to the penalty line.
Dragian picked up a half second as well, coming out of Tetra Rouge, just a little bit outside of track limits. Very punishing that corner.
He's been getting a lot of penalties. It's only been 3 laps.
Slow K with a little bit of a wobble coming out of chicane 1. Slow K under a fair amount of pressure here from those from Sway and Dragian here. That's a fairly international battle. Let's say we got Argentina, the U.S., Canada, Belgium. Is that the Greek flag?
Yes, it's Greece, and
we got a fairly international fight going on here.
We do. unable to do anything into the chicane, but Dragon is trying to still promote himself up to P7 or P8. He still has a penalty to carry though. Out onto the second or the third part of the Musan Straight, still behind Sway, unable to get any overspeed because any overspeed that's provided to Dragon is also being provided to Sway due to Slow being ahead of them. But a little bit of a bump draft before the corner. Takes an outside line, Sway.
Oh, look out, Sway! Oh, what a... Oh, my gosh.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he lost braking force due to the slipstream or his overspeed, which was that much. But luckily, no damage across any of the three drivers. Lots of lost time from Sway, but not enough to get him out of contention. Ooh, last moment counter
evasive maneuver from Slow K.
Absolutely. Great situational awareness from...
Situational awareness, +5.
From the American driver in the Mercedes. Dragan having to take another penalty. I think he's 3 for 3 in terms of racing laps. Well, these drivers, a lot of these drivers are getting laps. Cupcake, no penalty for him, so he should be able to close in on the Porsche ahead quite considerably before they enter the Porsche curbs, meaning Dadleisure, Endorphin, C-Dubs, and then Cupcake will be in this mini 4-train fight for P3, the final spot on the podium.
It appears that most drivers are starting to spread out now. Everyone's starting to calm down, everyone's starting to settle in.
For now.
For now.
Okay. Approaching the Ferris wheel portion of the track, the famous 4 chicanes. Papa Oso back in the lead with a 2-second gap, sitting down the first 3-minute lap. Banana with a 4:02.7. Dadleisure crossing the line, but I believe he had a penalty this time around. C-Dubs closer to Endorphin, Cupcake, MRL, Johnny Waffle, and Slow K, all crossing the line. Sway carrying another penalty, crossing the line, as well as Loris, D. Eller, and P12, trying to recuperate some sort of result from his off-track ventures on the first hot lap, or from the first racing lap.
You say off-track ventures as if it's intentional.
Well, it's definitely not intentionally wanted, I'll say that.
Heck no. Not all those who wander are lost.
Going through Tetra Rouge, these guys have finally learned how to navigate that corner. I don't see any penalties so far. Going up the Musan Straight, a second separates Dadleisure and Endorphin, not close enough to make Slipstream effective, and it looks like the engines are fairly equal. I wonder if these... Well, let me ask you this, Hot Air. How important is fuel saving on this in this race?
In this race, I would argue it's more important than others for the simple fact that this track is about double the length or more of any other track on the schedule. It's a 4-minute lap. You get less laps per tank, and if you do mess up your fuel saving, you have to fuel save harder, longer to adjust, which affects your pace critically.
It does. Firmly in the slipstream of the GTR ahead. Has to back out a little, make sure the dirty air doesn't hinder the Porsche under his feet, but still close enough to make this a 3-way fight for P3. Cupcake losing some time behind, was a lot closer at the beginning of this lap, but now 3 seconds behind C-Dubs. See what happens.
I know we had the start of the race to interfere, but do we want to take another look through those liveries?
Sure. Yeah, the only issue I have is I just don't know which ones
that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
I think I can help out with that. We can go from the bottom to top. We got Loris.
Because going into the hairpin, it looks like Endorphin is putting pressure on the AMG ahead. Will he take a look on the inside or the outside? Neither, because C-Dubs interrupts this battle with a bump draft. Endorphin doesn't get any sort of urge to go down the inside. Dad Leisure gets a bad entry, but Endorphin gets a bad apex, neutralizing the racing timing board. C-Dub still behind the GTR. Let's see, not enough time, I think, to use the slipstream to get into contention before the Porsche curves, but he's getting closer and closer. Still bump drafting the GTR. I'm not quite sure if C-Dubs either wants to help to try to take on the AMG, or is just trying to buy this time, because if he makes the move too early, there's plenty of straights for the GTR to come back.
Dealing with some of the aero wash and the Porsche curves, and from the C-Dub's perspective.
Looks like the GTR just doesn't have enough of an exit speed to be able to contest going into the 4 chicanes. Oh, it looks like
Bad Leisure off the 4 chicane. Endorphin takes advantage.
I wonder if he just slid too much, and that's caused him to not only go off wide, but also get a penalty. Well, up the hill. That Leisure, maybe with a penalty, but still close enough to contest for P3. No chance quite yet, but C-Dubs most certainly doesn't want to be held up by Dad Leisure. If he gets held up, he's going to have to also be behind him during the penalty line, and that's not what he wants. Going back onto the to the leader of the race, Papa Oso, just making his mark known. Low 4-minute lap times and 1 3-minute to boot. He's now 3.5 seconds ahead of the P2 challenger in Peach Nana. Hot Air, if you were able to find those extra guys with the liveries that we missed out on, who are they?
Sure thing, let's take a look. There were only 3 or 4 that were missing, I suppose. We got Loris 207 with this, wow, are those bullet holes? Regardless, he's got the imitated look of a very race-worn car.
Go to P3.
P3.
C-Dubs gained 2 positions in 1 corner. I wonder what happened there.
Oh, I do wonder.
Would we be able to get a replay? Yes. C-Dubs in the Porsche behind the AMG. Looks like he blocks off that Leisure S7R.
That was a very smart move from C-Dubs.
Let's block off that Leisure's opportunity to get out to the inside, and I think Endorphin was saving a lot of fuel, causing C-Dubs to get the overspeed into the chicane.
Well, I know for sure that the GTR is not that robust in a straight line, so I'm wondering if that was Dad Leisure catching up with the GTR in a straight line and then getting cut off by C-Dubs on the side. Very, very smart play from C-Dubs for him to be able to foresee that and take action.
I wonder if Endorphin has damage, because that was a considerable amount of speed right at the end of the straight.
He's keeping pace? I don't think so.
I wonder what caused Endorphin's sudden loss of speed. Because that was considerable, and he's gaining the slipstream. So I wonder, I just lift off.
I don't know.
Or what?
Either way, separated between 3 cars is 0.3 of a second. They are going into Indianapolis.
I call it the hair.
And here comes our Naj. Slowest turn on the track. Who can get a good exit out of here? It's really going to matter.
That Leisure not enough to offset the half-second penalty. Back to the liveries, Hot Air. I started to cut you off so many times.
That's all right. We got no shortage of good racing today. Okay, so we got Sway with the what looks like to be a standard Enduro Experience livery, nice and clean. Oh, Loris with the. Well, I said what looks like a race-worn livery. I'm assuming more of like a... I don't know what to call that. Looks good, though.
does. What were the other drivers? Sway was one of them, right? Sway?
So it was one of
With
them.
another endurance experience with the Mercedes AMG running the race number 13.
We got a Dragian with what looks to be a standard Enduro Experience livery, with a touch of Rexy on the front.
Yeah, let's go to Drag. Because I was thinking also Dragion has like some sort of like shark teeth in front.
Yeah, that's from
P8.
Rexy.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yeah.
And so, do you see the gold tooth there on the front? The gold tooth that you would see on the real Rexy race car is reminiscent of all of the wins that they get during the season.
Oh, really?
Yes. So if this livery is completely accurate and correct, that would imply that this team has won one race this season. I would need to triple check all the records on that though. Johnny Waffle.
Waffles.
Ooh, that's very clean looking.
Seems to be like a dark navy with the lime up against the white background and up against RAA, Cupcake, and the GTR. Not close enough to contest going into the chicane, but
he lifted early.
Great left. Cupcake also kind of goes in deep, but not too deep. RAA Cupcake with the GTR Race Asylum livery with the Mercedes right there.
He's making his move. Got plenty of room.
Well, Cupcake will have to give up the position anyways due to the penalty, so...
Nah, I wouldn't worry about Cupcake much. He's got cookies. He's alright.
He does have cookies. I'm hungry as well. I haven't eaten anything all day.
Which the Panda Express car had me worried because they're like, oh, damn, I'm hungry now.
Well, Johnny Waffle making the move out of the chicane.
Good stuff, Johnny Waffle. Lots of food-related cars today.
We do. Yeah, oddly. I'm not quite sure why, but, I mean...
And not to mention Johnny Waffle. Hello? I would have had a Waffle House livery on my car.
Into the braking zone, Johnny Waffle getting the car slowed down in time. Cupcake trying to come back with a better exit, but not enough in the car to do so. I think most of these drivers are on the same tire. I don't notice such a significant pace, disadvantage from everyone to say if they're on the mediums. So I think they all...
Night's falling.
Night is also falling. So I think it's mostly mediums to start off for everyone, but I could be wrong. Like, maybe Paparoso is on the softs, because he is just flying away from PhD Banana. But he also had a very good qualifying, so it could just be natural pace.
This is true. I've known Papa also to be pretty quick.
It's true. Into the Porsche curves for the FAF
having
team.
a penalty.
He gets demoted
Still
down
can't
to
pick up another
P8.
here.
PhD Banana exiting the Porsche curves.
Oh no, I know.
Going into the left part of the corner set, going up to the Ferris wheel section, the 4 chicanes, keeping the car steady up in P2. Maybe he's not able to close that gap by the end of the race, but as long as he keeps it steady, he's able to give it to his teammate for a round 2 of this portion of the racing day. C-Dubs back in P3, fighting against the S7R Goons team, trying to defend his position from Endorphin. Endorphin carrying a 1 second penalty. Plenty of time on this straight to make the move before they get into the first set of chicanes. C-Dub staying on that outside line, but Endorphin giving him a bump draft and giving the flasher, but still no bite. Endorphin stays behind for now. Up the hill through the chicanes, through the Dunlop overhang tire thingy majigger. Going down the hill into the sweepers as we see nightfall on this beautiful Circuit de la Surf. Entering Petra Rouge to the right-hand side over the curb, but not too out wide to make sure you don't pick up a penalty. Into the slipstream, 3/10 separate them, but the slipstream is able to erase that gap quite quickly. Let's see, will Endorphin make a move before they get to the penalty line? He does, into the inside. C-Dubs unable to really defend the position from the outside because Endorphin gets back onto the racing line. C-Dubs had to react. Endorphin goes in a little bit deep, but still able to keep the car on track. Will his exit speed be affected? Doesn't look like it. Throws up the flashers. Not quite sure why. Maybe just a thank you. And then C-Dubs continues on with the with the bump drafting. Now the chicane. It's behind Endorphin. Bump drafting the GTR down the ending of the Busan Straight. G-Dubs in the Porsche still stays behind for now. But Endorphin goes wide off the apex, almost off the track, giving C-Dubs a chance to go side by side and contest the position before they get into the Indianapolis hairpin. Going through Indianapolis onto the apex. Endorphin now has to serve the penalty right here, right now. Johnny Waffle being harassed by Dad Leisure. Two AMGs bumper to bumper, contesting the position going into Porsche curves. The Porsche curves, trying to catch the GTR ahead, having to fall away due to the penalty served earlier on. GTR versus two AMGs.
Johnny Waffle getting a bit of a bump draft there from Dad Leisure. Is that a sign of get out of the way? Or is that a sign of them trying to help each other, trying to catch Endorphin again? Wonder.
Well, hot air. When are you expecting some of these drivers to enter the pits to serve their one pit stop?
I would assume right in the middle of the race. I would say about 10, 11 laps, depending on which tire they're on and which tire they want to maximize their time on. To any of the drivers that pick the medium tires, it's naturally going to be harder to stay on the softs longer, but if they can do it, then they can do it.
Fair enough. Now, will the pit stops from anyone around them affect them with the tire strategy or with the pit stop strategy, or do they really want to stay on track with their expected pit stop?
I think this track doesn't really support an undercut all that much. If this is a shorter track, like let's say, for instance, Spa is a great place to hit an undercut. because you've got a lot more speed coming out of Eau Rouge. Like, for example, of course. Oh, hold on, we got overtake going on here between Dad Leisure and Johnny Waffle. Sorry, just Dad Leisure got past them. No, but for this, I think for this circuit, you would just want to stay your strategy, unless something happens, like damage or something like that.
Makes sense. Well, as we see Dragion, 2-second penalties. It's quite impressive that he's still running in P7 despite. Oh, he goes out wide into the gravel. Slows him down considerably, allows the NVR driver to get up one position back into P7 for now. Let's see, he has to stay ahead up until the hairpin so the penalty-ridden Dragion loses the most amount of time as we go up ahead. Endorphin leading this mini 3-car train, but Dad Leisure is still in the slipstream as they go into Indianapolis. Stay out right to get cut back inside. Yes, hot air.
Are we seeing the penalty that Dragion had picked up?
3 seconds?
Yeah. Holy crap. Ouch.
It is. It's unfortunate for him. He has good pace, just a lot of penalties today. C-Dub still comfortably.
Oh, that's gonna hurt him.
P3.
Cupcake might catch him.
Yeah, he might be close enough for that. P3 belonging to PhD C-Dubs. The 2 PhD drivers holding the two back spots of the podium. Kind of the same as the MVR teams today in split 1. Endorphin still ahead of this 3-car train exiting the Porsche curves. Dad Leisure trying to chase him down, try to reclaim that position with the other AMG and Johnny Waffle behind. Driving out under the Ferris wheel into the Porsche chicane. They slot in single file, not close enough for anyone to contest the positions. Dad Leisure going out a bit too tight on the second part of the chicanes, but still holds his position relatively fine. Might have lost a little bit of time to the car ahead though. 3.7 seconds split the NVR and the MRL driver behind, which is another AMG. We're seeing a lot of AMGs in the split. I didn't realize there were so many. Dragion behind after a 3-second penalty, losing so much time. Cupcake ever so getting closer with the GTR sway as we see Larice being the first pit stop taker in the Porsche, entering the pits, getting off the mediums and trying to finish out the race with a set of stops.
So on the topic of Loris being the first to stop, what they might be trying to do is, we're seeing he's on the medium tires of right now. He might be trying to extend his time on the softs, which would definitely help him. It would give him faster lap times. Certainly it would.
He may have to slow his pace down a little bit to make sure the softs last the entire rest of the race, but he may be able to gain enough to make that gamble worth it.
Hopefully. Or maybe he can match his pace that he did on the mediums.
Possibly.
Just sort of just keep churning out 402s.
Going back up front, Papaoso, leader, ever so comfortably. 6.5 seconds separate first and second, but that gap will go down as soon as Papaoso gets across the penalty line. The driver from Argentina competing under the FAF car. FAF has been a very strong team so far this season, and this result is only going to help them in their championship hunt. As we see PhD Banana exit the Mulsanne straight in P2 while his teammate PhD C-Dubs is out in P3. I believe they are currently running the Split 2 race of PhD World Series currently, unless it's already ended, which I don't think so, but it could be running.
We just finished our second to last race last night. Last race is next weekend.
Well, I'm saying the Split 2 race, the Saturday race.
Oh, that's right. It is tonight.
Anyways, going down the straight going into Indianapolis. Endorphin is still in P4, leading this main 3-car train. Still not comfortably, but still determinedly ahead of the 2 other AMGs. How does it feel to be in this sort of train/fight/battle hot air? When you're in a train and you see the car right ahead of you, but you know you guys are on such equal pace that you can't really do much to try to contest.
So if it's me in that situation, I get this sort of steely determination of I have to stay with this guy, because if I lose him, I lose the slipstream and I lose the chance to get him again. So it's I don't know how to describe that feeling. It's just important that you stay in the train, that nobody is really making a move on each other. Everybody is sort of helping each other with a slipstream. And speaking of which, at the head of this 3-car train, Endorphin does pick up a 1-second penalty, presumably going off after the Porsche curves.
It's very unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
It's going to leave the door open for the 2 AMGs behind to get the position before they get to the penalty line. Well, the 2 leaders, Papa Oso and Peachy Banana, both into the pits. Papa Oso on the softs, as I expected, while Banana was on the mediums.
You were correct about those soft tires for sure.
Race is in Peachy Banana's hands. 6 seconds separated the 2 before the pits. Now they're on opposite tires with Peachy Banana on the faster compound. It's going to be all dependent on if Banana is able to have the pace under the softs to get him back up and try to take the win, or, well, not the win, but take the lead before we swap over to the second set of drivers. ZLer defending against Peachy Banana. Peachy Banana, unfortunate to get stuck behind the American driver in the Ferrari. Let's see how close this exit was. He's right there, but you shoot out of the pit lane so slow that anyone on the main finish... actually, he really could have defended that, but ZLer was able to slot in just in the nick of time to take the position.
I call that opportunistic.
Much, but PhD Banana is giving himself more work to do to try to get this P1 into the Mosan straight, firmly in the slipstream of the Ferrari behind. He will have a grip advantage against ZLer, so he should be able to make this move through the chicane quite comfortably. Into the inside, ZLer still on the outside, not letting the position go quite easily, but he is forced to back out to navigate the chicane. And PhD Banana, while ever so briefly lost P10, but is now back up to P9. .7 seconds separate the Belgium and the American in PhD Banana. And besides that, there's another 5 seconds separating the Argentinian and the Belgium, meaning about 7.5 seconds separate Papa Oso and PhD Banana.
All right, I'm looking at the 3-car train, and Endorphin's getting ready to serve his penalty in this next corner after Indianapolis. Dadleys has gotten past him at this point. They are currently chasing down the leader.
They are. Looks like C-Dubs maybe was starting on the softs, but those softs are now starting to scream for their lives because the 3 cars behind them are making up so much time, while Dadleys gets up the inside of Endorphin of the GTR before they head into Indianapolis. Endorphin will be able to no, he has to back out. Not enough grip for him to feel comfortable defending with the position, but is now taking the penalty in P3 and will most likely be behind Johnny Waffle by the time he's done serving his penalty. Gets a little bit squirrely, not quite sure what happened there, but Johnny Waffle getting the position before the penalty line even gets under them.
Oh man, that's got to be very frustrating for Endorphin, getting passed by both cars, getting left in the dirt, and NVR Slow K is getting past Endorphin. NVR Slow K up to 4th place.
Right,
let's see this 3-way fight for first place. Well, Wouldn't call it a fight. Like you said, it's more of a train. Plus, C-Dubs is under a lot of pressure right now. He's got to have to pit relatively soon.
That's my question. Who's gonna pit? Who's gonna stay out?
Well, everyone needs to pit still. My assumption is that they'll all pit at the same time, keep things interesting. That's one. That's two. Well, it's not two. Just C-Dubs.
You have the two AMGs staying out while the Porsche goes into the pit lane, getting off his softs and finishing out the race on a set of mediums and some extra fuel. Three AMGs are currently in the top three. Endorphin and the GTR goes into the pit lane. I wonder if he picked up damage when he made that contact with Dad Leisure before the penalty line. Endorphin with the mediums, swapping them off onto a set of softs. Likewise with Cupcake, C-Dubs will be on the back foot, forcing a set of mediums for the rest of the race. Papa Oso now passing the pit lane, 6 seconds ahead of PHE Banana. About 10 laps to go before these drivers have to go into the pit lane once more to swap off, so there's plenty of time for Banana to make up the gap and get the position before they have to hand off to their teammates waiting in the pit lane.
You know what I'm starting to see is a lot of these drivers that were getting penalties at the start of the race, they are starting to ease off of that now. People who weren't getting penalties are staying off those penalties, and they're making up good time because of it. Was it a disconnect?
Seems to have been a disconnect. I'm not quite sure who exactly was it. Was it? No, it's C-Dubs, I think.
No, C-Dubs is on track.
It's Endorphin, I think. It is Endorphin.
Oh.
Not quite sure what happened there. I'm getting reports in our chat that Endorphin was having some wheel issues somehow.
Hardware
really
failure then.
Unfortunate. Yeah, possibly. He probably just didn't want to be basically a rolling chicane. Unfortunate for the S7R driver. But there is a system in place for them to get their second driver out on Stint 2. So don't worry, they're not exactly out of the race quite yet. As we see Dad Leisure, currently the leader of the race, but he's still with a pit stop expecting him. Most likely at the end of this lap, as Slow K67 behind them by about 4.5 seconds. 3 AMGs are slot into the podium positions for the moment. Papa Oso would be the that was odd. Johnny Waffle going in pretty deep onto the brakes, missing the apex, but still keeping the car on track. As I was saying, Papa Oso will take over the lead once these 3 AMG drivers need to pit.
Oh, we have a spin.
We have a spin.
Papa Oso.
Papa Oso.
What's put?
In 5th place.
He's got damage. He's in 5th place. That's not good. He was in such a good position too.
Exiting the Busan straight. The cover of the night. Oh, what happened there? It's like he got on the brakes, but then they just disengage entirely. Very odd there.
Not sure.
Most certainly he has damage from that. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
As he was having a great race so far. Just it looked like his brakes just turned off. Like he got on the brakes and then they just stopped.
I understand that these people are experienced, but sometimes your foot just slips off the brake.
Well, okay, so Hot Air, let me ask you this. If you're in Papa Oso's position, what would you do right now?
If I were in his position, and that damage is affecting me that severely, because he's already pit, right?
He's already pit, yes.
I would take a set of softs and just fix the damage.
I agree. I would probably do the same. As we see 2 of the AMGs going into the pits, Dad Leisure and Slow K67 having to go get off the mediums and onto the softs. Johnny Waffle deciding to extend by 1 lap, at the very least. And as we see, PHE Banana being promoted
Yeah.
up to the race lead after the horrible failure of whatever happened to Papa Oso's braking pedal.
So it appears that was correct. Papa Oso has taken a pit stop. If he wants to do this correct, he's going to take no fuel and fix that damage and go to softs so he can maximize his pace. He is going to lose quite a lot of position, though.
Unfortunate, but he had really good pace on the opening part of the stint. So I
Did.
have no doubt that he'll have good pace on this recovery drive. Really unfortunate to see, though. Hopefully his wheel is back in working shape. It's just, again, I've never seen that before, to see the brakes work and then just immediately stop right after.
That was correct. It's softs.
Coming out.
He is now in last.
Yeah, really
Oh,
unfortunate.
that is brutal to see. He had such a great first place run as well.
He did.
Hey, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. We still got more than half an hour.
That's true. Well, Johnny Waffle is currently our leader of the race so far, Medway Racing League. But he is still expected to pit, most likely at the end of this lap, but that's what I've been saying for the last 3 laps, so for all I know, he's gonna stay out for number 2. AMG passing through the second chicane ahead of PhD Banana, currently in P2. Once Johnny Waffle goes into pits, he will be promoted back up to P1. I wonder what P3 and P4 are up to. The AMG and the Porsche. I thought the gap would be a lot shorter than that. But that leads you 15 seconds behind PhD Banana. Once Johnny Waffle goes in, that should be a comfortable P2 for him. And then C-Dubs maybe will keep P3, but he may be in contention with Johnny Waffle on the exit of the pit. Dragion, besides his multiple penalties and another penalty, is currently up to P5, being chased down by the AMG of NVR Slow K67. You see out in the background also Cupcake, so any mistake by these two drivers will be immediately capitalized by the RA driver in the GTR, exiting the Musan straight into the right-hander. Dragon still carrying that penalty, so Slow K should be able to get this position quite easily, I want to say.
We're doing a quick status update on Papa Oso. He appears to have made up some ground. He's coming up on the back markers right now. That of Sway and Z Eller.
He still has a teammate in the pit lane to hopefully, let their team get a good recovery and Stint too.
This is true. If I was Papa Oso right now, with those fresh softs and that fixed damage, it's head down, nose to grindstone. Just drive. Just do what you can.
Yeah, as I say that, the Eller defends slightly from Sway, side by side into, what's the name of this corner?
The one that they just came out of, that's Arnage.
Well, out of Arnage, Sway gets the over-under and gets the straight line speed that he needs on exit to take the position away before they enter the Porsche curves, but Z Eller is still close behind and able to contest with the slipstream. Entering Porsche curves, they go side by side. The Ferrari on the outside of the first part of this corner is able to sweep around pretty nicely. Sway still there though, so Z Eller needs to keep him in the back of his mind. Going on to the second set of the curves. Sway goes a little bit wide due to understeer, most likely caused by the dirty air. Isn't going to help him any much. Now Z Eller has a decent gap going under the Ferris wheel at the moment. Larice is in clear view of these two drivers. Medway, I believe, also went into the pits. I don't know if he's still in the pits, but he certainly went into the pits, getting off, I believe, the softs, and now finishing out the race in mediums. As we see Papa Oso, the headlights of the Porsche behind the Mercedes AMG.
Seems like Papa also has made decent time after his incident.
That's true, and he
But
had
with the opportunity of him being able to go back to softs after that, it definitely helps. Imagine having to do this on mediums.
That is true. And having 3 cars ahead of him most certainly motivates him to at least try to get the car up as high as possible to hand off to his teammates. As we see Lori's 2/10 up from the fastest lap so far out of Tetra Rouge.
Let's do a quick recap of all the cars top to bottom. We got PHG Banana in first by about 16 seconds. He's got a 1-second penalty though. I'm assuming he comfortably served that, no issue. He's got a fastest lap right now, 3:59.4. Dad
My
Leisure.
apologies. One moment.
Go ahead.
Hot air. Looks like Z Eller was able to use the slipstream and get ahead of the Mercedes of Sway. Sway being offline is giving a chance to Papaoso, but he was able to cover him off before Papaoso was able to take the position away. But still, there's plenty of slipstream to have to be used for the rest of this Musan straight. Going into the second set of chicane, Z Eller forced to take a defensive line. Sway on the outside, entering the chicane. Sway with the Mercedes trying to do the same as Z Eller did to him on the Porsche curbs, unable to do so. The Merc unable to get the turn in he needs to get the position back. Papaoso now right behind Sway, probably doing a little bit of bump drafting, but no, he pulls out a little bit. Sway able to use the slipstream of Z Eller. Z Eller too far away from the car ahead to be able to get any slipstream. Sway now on the inside line into this corner. Papaoso gives a little bit of a bump draft. Sway not deterred. Oh my god!
Papaoso sticking his nose in.
He did. Little bit of contact from everyone involved, but I don't believe it was enough for anyone to get any sort of damage. Sway now up to P9, getting the position back from Z Eller, while Papaoso still is behind this pack. Must be frustrating for the Argentinian having such a great race and now stuck behind this pack for quite a while.
It'd be less frustrating if everybody still had to pit, but everyone's made their stops.
It's true, so this is just a pure raw fight for position. Lori's still the head of this pack right now, but still there's 3 hungry cars behind him. They are not going to let him get to the end of this race without at least some sort of headache. As we see in the background, Papaoso on the inside line, but not enough speed to be able to contest into the Porsche curve. Z Eller using the slipstream to effective usage. Entering the Porsche curves with a very good amount of speed. The Mercedes just not able to turn in this portion that well unless he's on a tire disadvantage. Z Eller had to back up a little bit due to the dirty air, allowing Papaoso to get much closer. Almost contact between the 2 drivers. They go out wide from the apex, giving Papaoso a chance to come back with a great exit speed. Z Eller looking to make that inside move into the forward chicanes. Z Eller breaks way later. Sway having to back out to make sure no contact was caused. Papaoso still behind. Sway with a bad final apex, giving way to Papaoso.
The first of many. He's got some work to do.
Let's take a look back up the field. I want to see if there's any battles
There's a battle going on. There's a battle for 4th place between Johnny Waffle and Slurpay.
Okay, Johnny Waffle against the other Mercedes and Slopey, and then 2 cars behind him with Dragion and Cupcake. I don't think I've seen Dragion drive without a penalty so far, and it still is the case. Johnny Waffle currently with the medium set of tires, so out of this group, he should be the one with the largest disadvantage so far, but that doesn't mean he's going to let up this position too early, too easy. Through the chicane, you can tell that the softs on the Mercedes behind Johnny Waffle being used to great effect. Now side by side, well before the second part or the second set of chicanes. It's only 1.3 seconds behind
Drag
this
race.
group with Dragion. drag race down the Musan
Oh
Straight.
no,
Johnny
he
Waffle.
backed out of it. He backed out of it.
Interesting to see how he backed out of it. I wonder if he wants to fuel save any amounts. Going into the first apex of the chicane, Slowcase should still be able to keep the gap close with the tire advantage.
Bit of a wiggle from Waffle. If I were Slowcase right now, I'd try to get him in Mulsanne corner right here.
Cupcake exiting the chicane with a half-second penalty as well. Slowcase side by side with the other Mercedes. Johnny Waffle letting up the position. Must have left it early or just shifted early.
That was
Johnny
close.
Waffle, yeah, Johnny Waffle missed the apex, but still holding P5. And now it's the Porsche and Dragion's turn behind, but Johnny Waffle just has to stay alive until they reach the penalty line. And then the two cars behind him will be forced to serve their penalties. As we see, oh! The ZLer goes, oh! Papa Oso spawns and goes into the barrier. Was that?
Oh no, Papa Oso! But it's such bad luck.
Going side by side into the corner. ZLer, they break at the same time. ZLer, no, Papa Oso just went wide. He tried to carry more speed into the apex onto the outside line, but just wasn't able to keep the grip that he needed. And now Papa Oso most likely having extra damage again, while P8 and ZLer and P9 in Sway keeps on going.
I feel for him, man.
Driver.
I feel for him. I've been in that situation. It is not good.
Just wasn't able to get the car slowed down enough.
No
really
comment. Oh, he just wrecked again.
Did he?
Yeah, he just spun it again.
Papa Oso?
Yes. He's got back damage now.
Going for the sweeper.
No, it's just... There it is. Dunk!
Unfortunate. Once again. Really bad luck for the FAF team. But they still have a second stint to try to recover some sort of results. D-Dubs up in P3. Only 1 second separating him and Slow K and the Merc behind. MVR Slow K has been having a hell of a race so far. Starting down in like P8 is now hunting for a podium.
He is making his advance on C-Dubs.
Getting ever so closer, going into Tetra Rouge, or what I prefer to call it, the pinball corner. D-Dubs getting a bit of a wide exit, forced to lift to make sure he didn't catch a penalty, giving Slow
and he did.
Penalty.
1 second.
Slow K on the outside.
Oh man.
Fortunate. 1 second penalty haunts the C-Dubs. Even without Slow K making the move right now, he would still be forced to relinquish the position at the penalty line.
Papa Oso and...
What happened to Papa Oso?
Papa Oso and Loris are both pitting for damage and tires. Presumably tires. Yes, he is.
So we take a look at Dragion still being hounded by the GTR behind. Will Cupcake play the bump drafting game? No, it doesn't look like it. He's going to go onto the inside and try to contest for the position. But it looks like the Porsche just has more legs than the GTR, oddly, unless the GTR is forced to... No, roughly the same.
Ooh, contact! A little bit of contact. Between 6 and 7. So it's Dragion and Cupcake, and it appears C-Dubs has gone off the track as well. He's got damage too.
Let's see if we can get a replay on that. Not quite sure what happened to C-Dubs there.
Me neither. I didn't see it.
Brakes at the right time.
Yeah, too much.
Too much steering input and too much gas equals a spin. Unfortunate for C-Dubs. He would be very lucky if he escaped that without any damage too. Oh, Dion loses the position to Cupcake. I wonder if that's at the corner off the Musan Straight. Also picking up another penalty. Yes, okay. He went off track. Went into the gravel, unfortunately, losing the position along with whatchamacallit, along with picking up a penalty. Banana, our current leader, just absolutely running away. His closest competition made an unfortunate error, allowing PHG to take over P1 without much of a fight from anyone else. Hot air. Let me ask you this: would you rather have your two teams finish second or third, or have one team finish P1 and then the other team finish at a lower spot?
I think I would rather have both of my teams finish higher without winning. If it were up to me, I would have both of them finish well. Like say what happened in split 1, second and third, to yield the most points between the teams.
It is a
because if one team wins, they get a few more points, but then the other team gets none.
It is true, as we see PHG C-dubs go into the pits, most likely to repair the damage and get a set of softs to finish out this stint. Going up the hill, Dragon still trying to chase down the GTR with a Cupcake at its helm. Dragon having the pace, but not the luck with the penalties.
I feel for Papa, man. It's a bad spot to be in. And poor Porsche's getting battered.
Especially in a race like this, which is very much, you just gotta go. You can't. There really isn't much in terms of saving, in terms of lowering your pace and saving resources. You're gonna be forced to use a lot of gas regardless,
right,
due to the nature of the track. So you can't really use more resources to get more time because all the resources are being used as is. As I say that, Sway on the Musan Straight, very close behind the the Ferrari of Zeller. Now onto the inside line. Will he get fully ahead before the braking point? I doubt it. Zeller will at least try to contest the position slightly. No, he's fully ahead, but doesn't seem to go over onto the racing line. Zeller, the outside, switches back for the apex. Just tries to get himself lined up for a good exit to try to contest the position on the second half of the Musan Straight. I'm getting word that Endorphin napped his wheel in half. Like his rim.
What?
I'm not quite sure
almost for wheel
how
problems.
I don't know. I've heard many issues of wheels. I've never heard of that issue, but unfortunate for the raccoon driver. Hopefully, he gets that repaired very quickly. And
you read that right. Position. He totally did.
Well, hopefully he gets that fixed before the next race of the season. Very unfortunate to see. As I say that, Sway still ahead of Zeller. Not enough time for Zeller to use the slipstream to be able to contest the position off the straight.
Oh, do you remember how I was mentioning that Rexy livery from earlier from Enduro Experience on that Porsche?
Yes.
So I'm reading the comments back, and Enduro Experience responded with the fact that it's a bronze tooth. They got P3 at Laguna Seca.
Makes sense.
That is really cool.
No, it definitely is. Cupcake serving a penalty, allowing Dragon and the Porsche to close in very quickly. Will he contest into the Porsche?
Very close there.
But to see a half-second penalty absolutely close up a 2-second gap is that's just how harsh that penalty line is.
Yeah, but then you gotta deal with the arrow wash that comes with Porsche curves, and he's dealing with it right now.
That is true, but Dragon still being able to contest at least still has a chance they pick up P5 before they have to hand off the car to their drivers. Very quickly, a hot air. Could you re-explain the swap system for any viewers that weren't here at the beginning of the stream?
Absolutely. So the driver swap system depends on how many stints you have. In this case, we have 2 stints. So 2 stints means 2 lobbies. The first lobby, which we're in right now, has 23 laps enabled, but only 21 of those laps are racing laps. The first lap is the parade lap, and how we do our manual rolling starts, and then a 23rd lap is a exit lap. Because these drivers will pit at the end of lap 22 in order to go into the pits to hand off the car to the other driver. When that happens, the other lobby will already be set up, lobby number 2. All of the corresponding team's drivers will be in the pits waiting for the signal.
Makes sense. All right, well,
When that signal is given, it means that the first driver's car has come to a full stop. This is enforced pretty strictly, if I remember correctly.
It is.
So you need to make sure that your car is all the way stopped before you give your message to go to your second driver. The first lobby has 23 laps. The second lobby has 22. Because they race to the finish line.
Well, thank you very much, Hot Air. As I say that, we're having 2 battles brew up right now. Z-Eller ahead of Sway. Regaining the position after that whole tuffle earlier on in the race. Cupcake is also fighting with Dragon once again. As I say that, Sway trying to make inroads before they reach the second set of chicanes, looking for an inside move, at least try to get into the mirrors of Z-Eller, but not enough to put him offline. Sway has one more chance on this Musan straight before they get to the corner at the end of it. Will Sway have enough of a run to be able to get into the inside line of Z-Eller?
I'm watching a battle between 5 and 6 right now, between Dragon and Cupcake.
Well, Sway was able to get the inside before the breaking point of the corner. Z-Eller has to give space to Sway. Out on the outside line, you'd think you have more exit speed, but that's just not true. Sway with the Mercedes, able to go underneath right at the last moment, and now he's on the inside line for this part of the straight, but the outside line of the Indianapolis hairpin. Sway edging ever so slightly up front. Z-Eller trying to stay with him, contest the position, make him be held tight. Going through the sweeper, Sway on the outside. Z-Eller tries to keep inside, gets a little bit of a late break and is able to hold the position. Now they swap lines. Sway on the outside of Arnage, trying to hold the position, trying to hold the speed. Now it's still side by side, going up to Porsche curves. These 2 guys are hungry for this P7. Z-Eller trying to get back into the slipstream, but just not calculating the distance quite yet. And Sway is now firmly ahead going into the Porsche curves.
My goodness.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody fight that hard for something that wasn't the lead.
Well, Sway for now ahead of Z-Eller exiting the Porsche curves, going into the Ferris wheel portion of the track. Let's take a look at P5, P6 really quick, because I think Cupcake was able to take the position away from Dragon, if I'm correct, right, Brett? Or
no, Cupcake was under attack by Dragon, but I'm assuming that Dragon had a penalty or some sort of off. or just missed the line or something. And now they're separated by about a second and a half.
I get it. Okay. Mistake.
And the second I say that, I just gave Jaggy on commentator's curse. He just incurred a half-second penalty.
Well, that was probably going to happen without it anyways.
Yeah,
Going
probably.
on to the Tetra Rouge. Cupcake ahead in P5 with the GTR, while the Greek driver in the Porsche. Very unfortunate with Dragon. Like, he actually has really good pace. I know I'm saying that a lot, but he's actually one of the faster drivers on track right now. Just really unfortunate. Taking a look back, Sway, Mercedes still running in P7. Purple going through the first sector. Z Eller in the Ferrari behind. Out of the slip so far, but plenty of straight to make that back up, especially with 2 chicanes and hopefully 2 good exits. We have what? 4 laps to go? 3 laps to go? 3 laps. Because they pet lap 22, so yeah, 3 laps, right?
Lap 19, 20, 21, yeah.
No, they pet 22.
End of 22, yeah. They pit at the they complete race lap 22, and then they pit at the end of said lap.
Yeah. 3.5 laps. Oh. Wasn't ever the best at math, but as we peer up to P3, slow K67. Bit of an eventful race for him at the very least, but great to see that he comes out with a podium so far. Still obviously has to hand it off to his teammates for them to finish off the race, but in a very good position nonetheless. The second AMG, Johnny Waffle on the mediums, bit of a tire disadvantage compared to his compatriots around him, but still holding steady in P4 with Cupcake in P5 and Dragon in P6, still behind him. You know, I say hot air. Let's take a look up to PhD Banana and ride on board with him for a lap.
Sure thing.
Because I think that would be great to see our race leader and see what he's doing behind the wheel of that Porsche. As he exits Porsche curves, we'll go on board.
He's coming
with
into
him
the
for a
Porsche
lap
curves.
or so. Okay, that's Porsche curves?
This is Porsche curves right here.
No, I thought the sweepers beforehand were Porsche curves. Wow. Oh, it is the first 2. Okay. Well, into the first-person view, cockpit view, as he slid. That would have been really funny if he just let it off track. But he keeps the car in hand. Going up the hill, trying not to squeak the tires too much. Brake in a comfortable spot. Just keep up the speed between these 2 apexes and get an early exit. Down the hill through the sweepers. I wish GT7 had the Bugatti circuit. That would be a really fun circuit to race out.
That would be very cool.
But unfortunately, we don't have that quite yet. Maybe in the future.
You will take your hypercars and you will like it.
And now on to the Nissan Street. The first chicane, look for the staff and look for the board, and in between you'll find your braking points.
Very clean.
Absolutely. Exit speed is the king around here. That's what you gotta prioritize. Replicates it again with the second chicane. Are you liking the new Porsche compared to the old version Hot Air?
To be perfectly honest, I haven't put a whole lot of miles on it, but I can tell you right away that it's a little bit easier to drive than the old one. That's not to say that the old one was difficult to drive. It's just it's a bit more responsive.
I agree. Banana missing the apex of the corner by a little bit, not too much to hurt him too much.
Yeah, he's still got 16 seconds on Dad Leisure. He's put up a comfortable lead at this point.
Very much so. Would have loved to see a fight between him and Papaso, but just not meant to be today.
Not meant to be. That's right.
Through Indianapolis, gets the car settled down quite well before he reaches the apex. Brake as late as possible to get this corner navigated thoroughly. Passing over the penalty line up to the Porsche curves. Go for the first, and we go for the second. Porsche curves go into the Corvette turns. Go for the first, go for the long second, and then the third. Gotta cut in very early to carry the speed as much as possible because you will get a penalty on that outside part of the track.
Yeah, they could be up to a full second.
Brake as late as possible.
Penalties there sting.
Yeah, they do. And then through the Porsche canes, early on power, go out wide, and you complete a lap. Thank you very much, PhD Banana. And we now only have 2 laps left. Very quickly, guys. As I said, this is stint 1, as in there is a stint 2. You guys don't have to go anywhere for that. You guys can just stay on the stream. The stream will end naturally, and it will be rated over to the stream of Stint 2. So, go ahead, grab a snack or something, use the bathroom, but you don't have to touch anything on your TV, computer, phone, tablet, whatever you're using to watch this stream, because it will naturally navigate to the stream, or to the Stint 2 stream by itself. Dragging on, crossing the line. Bit of a gap being built between him and Cupcake. Cupcake seemingly having the edge in pace at the moment, but he should be able to pass it off very comfortably before the end of the race, with a 15-second gap separating him and ZLer behind. We must have missed out on a major mistake by Sway, because he's now 16 seconds behind. He was very much on pace with the Eller beforehand. Rear damage, must have had an off somewhere. Unlucky. T-Dubs, another unlucky individual. And Paposo, arguably the unluckiest individual of the race so far.
He was dealt a crap hand this round.
Very much so. Tetrarude have a second up so far. We'll be able to get another PB, or maybe not. Time will only tell. Way with that rear end damage, the gap, with no fault of his own, being ever so closed down very quickly. Rear end damage is horrible for straight line speed, and this track is very much necessary for that. And T-Dubs most likely being able to take the position from Sway by the end of this lap at the very least, if not at the end of this straight. Very unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. into the second set of chicanes. C-Dub's just ever so approaching, like it's nothing, to be honest. Just that rear end damage. It's nothing for Sway to be able to do. Going around the outside, just game over at that point. Well, Hot Air, how are you and your team gonna review the races today?
I like how you think they did.
Yeah.
I say mission accomplished.
What's the NVR discussion after a day of racing? What's the debrief looking like in the NVR garages?
Usually it's a sharing of replays, just checking to see like incidents that happened, different tire strategies that could be employed, niche strategies that we see from different drivers, how different drivers had adjusted. Like we'd be looking at Papa Osa's situation here. Like he was such a quick driver. He qualified on pole, didn't he?
Yep.
We'd be looking at his situation and seeing, dang, that sucks. Sorry about that.
Fair enough. As we see,
but mostly between team members, it's a lot of BSing and just ribbing each other.
That is the perks of being on a team. Also, K67 crosses the line to finish out his portion of the overall race. Remember, these guys are going to pit at the end of lap 22. So PhD Banana on the Mosan straight. He's not going to cross the line. He's going to go into the pits. Once he stops at the pits, the second PhD driver will begin their portion of the race with Stint 2. Just a very, very wonderful performance by PhD Banana.
Yeah, very well done. Dad Leisure was getting it too.
Absolutely. Even at the end of the first portion of this race, when he was on the mediums while Paposa was on the softs, he only let the gap grow up to 6 seconds. So while it would have been a very wonderful fight, I would probably say that PhD Banana, even without Paposa's bad luck, would still have exited this portion of the race in the lead.
Most likely. It also had to do with the Papa Oso's original strategy, which went from soft to medium, which is not the favored strategy here. The favored one is medium to soft.
Absolutely, unless the random lever froze rings.
Yeah, which thankfully it didn't this time. But at that point, it's declared a wet race, and all the penalties that are administered for that are moot.
Yes. Which will be a lot of work for us in the background, but it'll be sorted out.
Yeah. PHG Banana coming up to the Indianapolis chicane one last time.
Well, Hot, kind of ending our portion of the race. Do you have any closing thoughts / words to the viewers?
Well, nothing specific. No. It's just, you gotta understand that these races take a toll on you. And, like, yeah, doing like 35, 45-minute races is all fun and games until you start doing races that are an hour or more. Some of the fatigue that sets in when you're doing a race like this, you can't fight it with energy drinks. You can't slap yourself in the face. You can't put cold water on your face. None of that. You have to push through it, and it's one of the hardest things you can ever do.
That is true.
The fatigue, once it sets in, you start seeing things on track that aren't there. Like, I remember doing an endurance race one time, and I went into the pits and I reached for my turn signal. Man, I was tired.
Well, very much big congratulations to PhD Banana. you are taking the lead for your team in the Split 2 Round 4 race for the GTSC Championship. A very wonderful performance by you and the Porsche and the team behind you. So congratulations. I wish you and your team the best of luck for the Stint 2 portion. As we see in the background, Dad Leisure is also entering the pits with his Mercedes. Great work by him and his team.
Leisure coming up with no fuel.
Basically, yeah, perfect. And the second teammate should start any moment right now because he's stopped. As we see Dad Leisure rolling into the pits, MVR Slow K67 also entering the pits. Medway's racing driver Johnny Waffle also going into the pits, as well as RA Cupcake. Dad Leisure at his box. Slow K. Do you have any words for him on stream, Hot Air?
For Slow K?
Yep.
Go! Now!
Johnny Waffle, congratulations.
No, good drive, man. Well, we'll talk soon.
Johnny Waffle, congratulations on the P4 and P5 for Cupcake as well. Dragion, very good work, to be honest. As much as you got, a ton of penalties, you actually had very good pace. C-Dubs, PHG, unfortunate luck for today, but you still have a second part of the race for your team to something in that second half. Z Eller going into the pit lane, as well as Sway. As we see on the top right hand side, which is the stream you guys will be navigated to very shortly, the PHG driver is coming out and trying to finish out the race. Z Eller into the pit box, Sway almost into the pit box as well. Papa Oso, unfortunate to see what happened today with him. Wonderful pole lap, great pace at the beginning, but just a bad turn of events leading him to finish in P10.
It happens,
Almost
man.
into the pit box he goes. Lurice into the pit lane as well. Last one to finish out this Porsche of the Split 2 race. I want to thank everybody for viewing us. I know you probably have heard me for like 3 hours at this point if you caught the end of the last Split race and the beginning of this one. So thank you very much with putting up with me for the 3 hours time. Hot Air, thank you very much for joining the commentary booth with me as well as Toddy earlier today. Do you any final words?
No, not specifically. Just tune in to Stint 2, and we're gonna see the end to a very dramatic race.
Yes, thank you very much, Hot Air, once again for joining me. Like I said, this stream will end and it will go over to the Stint 2 stream. Thank you very much, McNaughty, in our background for producing this wonderful stream once more. Thank you, everybody, for watching us. We wish you a wonderful rest of the day.